the question that I have, what have you uncovered from records in the Vatican about aliens? I mean, it blows my mind that they're even researching such a subject as this.
The Vatican's interest in extraterrestrials, they have a whole theology developed around what they call the principle of plenitude, meaning anything that God could do, he would do. So they consider the existence of aliens an inevitable consequence of God's omnipotence.
Now, beyond NASA and ESA, the Roman Catholic Church is also interested in what lies beyond our universe. Indeed, the Vatican has its own observatory in Rome, but Jesuit astronomers are also looking to the heavens in Mount Graham, Arizona. There lies 3 very powerful telescopes. The Vatican's astronomical institution dates back to at least 1891, and it's already given us breakthroughs, like the first photographic proof of the green flash at sunset. Well, to speak more about the Vatican's space activity, I'm joined by the head of the Vatican Observatory, Brother Consul Magno. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Now, does the existence of alien life contradict in any way Catholic dogma? I mean, do you understand that this could come as a shock to worshippers as it affects the claim in a way that men are special in the cosmos?
Funny thing about that, first of all, it's not going to be such a shock, because I think most of us have watched enough science fiction that we're used to the idea we're not alone. There was a survey done by the Center for Theology and the Natural Sciences that showed that 90% of every religion they interviewed said finding other intelligences would not be a shock to them. I think the bigger shock really was back when they discovered human beings living in the Americas. And we've gone through that. We're ready to accept that any creature in the universe that is created, was created by the same God who created us, is in the same kind of relationship as the rest of us.
We're ready to accept that any creature in the universe that is created, was created by the same God who created us, is in the same kind of relationship as the rest of us.
An astronomer by the name of Guy Cosmonalgo. He's one of the top astronomers for the Vatican.
What was the major thing you got from your interview with him?
Oh, well, 2 major things. One, he says without apology that very soon the nations of the world are going to look to the aliens for their salvation, including the idea that Jesus might be the son of a star child. Now, when we ask him what is a star child, right, they're talking about an alien intelligence from another world, and that the birth of Jesus Christ, the virgin birth, was in fact comparable to an abduction scenario in which these aliens used the Virgin Mary to create Jesus. And this is one of the ways in which they're combining the idea that we are soon to be visited by an alien savior from another world.
It's demonic. Why would the Vatican be studying this?
Yeah, well, not only are they studying it, Corrado Balducci, who was the spokesman for the Vatican, he was their official mouthpiece concerning the alien presence, not just the reality of aliens on other worlds, but an alien presence that is here on Earth now. You can go to YouTube and watch his shows on Italian television when he spoke for the church and said that the church was using its embassies around the world.
Padre Balducci, allora, lei che cosa risponderebbe a quanti sostengono che gli alieni sono già fra di noi?
Non si può più pensare è vero, non è vero, sono veri o sono falsità, ci si crede o non ci si crede, no. Oramai ci sono varie considerazioni che fanno dire con certezza che l'esistenza di questi esseri c'è, non si può dubitare. Magari si potrà dire che su 100 fenomeni ce ne saranno, anche se si dicesse 99 non vero e uno vero, c'è quell'uno che dice che certi fenomeni esistono. Quindi questo è il primo problema, non rientra più nell'ambito della prudenza umana, dubitare, perché la prudenza dice di essere prudenti, ma non di negare.
Former Israeli space official says he has proof. He's claiming that there is a, quote, galactic federation stop it out.
He also explains that President Trump both knows about them and was on the verge of disclosing their existence, only to be persuaded not to by the Federation in order to avoid mass hysteria and panic here on Earth. Apparently, humanity just still has a long way to grow before we can understand the gravity of their presence.
This in addition to the claims of a galactic federation, which, interestingly enough, echoes statements made in 2005 by former Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hellyer about visits by extraterrestrials to Earth as well. Very shocking statements, but extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are.
After 30 years at the helm of the Israeli space security program, and after receiving 3 Israeli security awards, retired Israeli general and respected professor Chaim Eshed is now unveiling that yes, there are aliens among us, yes, Israel has made contact with them, and no, humanity is not ready for them. Also, before you start doubting his words, the 87-year-old Eshed was clear in his recent interview with the Yediot Ahronot News that he's not talking about immigration, but rather about a galactic federation complete with an underground base on Mars.
Running an underground Mars base with the U.S. in a secret pact. He went on to say that the aliens will not reveal themselves until humanity can reach a point where they fully understand space, spaceships. This former space official also claims that President Trump knows about the alien existence, but was asked not to say anything to avoid the mass hysteria.
Parallax. We also got eyes on a new video of a reported UAP that the Pentagon is marking as resolved. This one was taken back in 2018 while Mount Etna in Italy was erupting. You see an object appear to be flying through gas clouds and volcanic ash. But again, through video analysis and 3D modeling, the Pentagon is determining that this was a balloon drifting in the wind. Now, not all the investigations, though, are cut and dry. Over 750 plus reports of UAPs were referred to the Pentagon to look into. So far, at least 21 of them are still a mystery. We heard testimony about several of those cases today, including a law enforcement officer's account of some sort of floating orb. Take a listen to this.
A blacker than black object. He said it was about the size of a Prius, 4 to 6 feet wide. And as he got 40 to 60 meters away from the object, it tilted up about 45 degrees, and then it shot up vertically. He says 10 to 100 times faster than any drone he's ever seen before. It emitted very bright red and blue lights that illuminated the inside of his vehicle as brightly as if someone had set off fireworks just outside his vehicle.
Habitation on the moon. We can visit other people with their habitation. We can keep track. If there's something very important to be developed from the moon, I'm not sure what it is right now. And I sure think we should identify what it is for America to make such gross expenditures again for human habitation on the moon. We can help. We can join with. Together, we can explore the moon and develop the moon. We should go boldly where man has not gone before. Fly by the comets, visit asteroids, visit the moon of Mars. There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there? Who put that there? Well, the universe put it there. If you choose, God put it there. Maybe.
Do you believe in aliens?
Well, I will say this, the intelligence community, large sectors of it believe in aliens.
Really?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's a big, I mean, they're constantly discussing these things. Yes. And if you look at the global elite, you know, and you wonder, well, I don't want to blame the world banksters for this, that's a conspiracy theory. Then who is pulling all those strings? Okay? Could there be another kind of entity, aliens, demons, whatever? Could there be something that's pulling their strings that the global banksters know about, right, and they're taking orders from, but they're being totally concealed and hidden from the public? This is a viable hypothesis, and it's one that the intelligence communities don't reject.
It's funny you pose
which is, kind of neither here nor there, because the intelligence communities themselves could be run by aliens, for all we know.
People are going to be laughing when you say that there are aliens that
let them laugh, okay, but they won't be able to come up with any supporting argument against what I'm saying. They don't know enough.
Well,
they're ignorant.
It's funny that you mention aliens and demons in the same breath, because I don't particularly believe in aliens. I mean, what do I know? There are a lot of things I don't know about. But I certainly believe that demons exist. Because I'm pretty confident that demons exist. I'm less confident that aliens exist.
Well, but the thing is, a lot of people are reporting that they're seeing these UFOs and other strange alien suggestive phenomena.
Yeah. So what is something like, they call it the tic-tac, of these weird UFOs that seem to violate the laws of physics?
Correct. Basically, they look like, little, blobs of light or spheres that can commit these maneuvers that are totally against the laws of physics as we understand them, right? They look like they have mass, but somehow they're not subject to inertia. They can turn on a dime on a right angle and continue at the same speed. They can accelerate at, a tremendous, with tremendous G forces. Okay, how can that happen?
Do you have any theory?
Well, yes, I do. But it's it's fairly involved. Basically, when you reduce the world to telesis, and you understand that reality consists of a merging of mind and matter, it's an interplay, of the two.
It's not just stuff, and it's not just pure abstraction.
It can be real without necessarily being a completely physical phenomenon. Okay? In other words, there can be a mental component to it. Right? And that is what I think is happening here. I think that actually there's something to it. The number of people that report UFO incidents is simply too large. People aren't, they're not all liars. They don't run around risking their reputations by saying, okay, I'm going to make a nut out of myself and say, these UFOs exist.
But couldn't they just be nuts?
Well, I suppose they could.
But you're saying there's too many.
I'm saying it's very improbable that they are. I mean, because not that many people are that nutty.
Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose. Well, so far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago he did set up the Space Force as the fifth branch of the US Armed Forces. Well, we did ask the White House, the Department of Defense and Israeli officials to comment. So far, they have not responded to the NBC News request, and I wonder if they ever will.
Well, it might sound like science fiction, but a new UFO probe is being taken very seriously at the highest levels of the US government. And it seems Donald Trump is preparing to release classified files kept top secret for decades.
The U.S. Air Force says unidentified drones have been spotted over 4 joint U.S. and U.K. military bases in England. The mysterious drones have repeatedly appeared for over a week now. Stephanie Bennett is live in London. So, Stephanie, this is pretty disturbing. What do we know about these drones?
They're describing the incidents as unusual and say this is a serious set of circumstances.
You had this hearing, of course, the other day, and we're past the point. Yes, aliens exist, whatever. We have reverse engineered their craft. We have these materials. We know this now. That's on the congressional record. We have this stuff. Like, let's move the conversation beyond that.
Can I ask you a question? So there is this there's this process of recovering of these craft, whatever they are, right? And the so-called biologics that reside within, supposedly. And I'm sure you're aware of this. So how exactly are there so many crashed UAPs? What is that? They have the technology to, travel 150 knots underwater, but they somehow crash a lot. I mean, it doesn't kind of make any sense. They just have like bad GPS or something. It's like they possess technology that defies the laws of physics, but they crash. So I just don't think that makes any sense. And what I believe is true is that these recoveries have been the result of the summoning of these craft. And that's the word that was relayed to me, the summoning of these craft. So, if you're summoning stuff, what does that even mean? You're talking about a phenomenon that exists in the spiritual realm. I mean, that's more like a seance than a science expedition, right? Doesn't make it any less real, by the way, but it changes the category.
At a Pentagon briefing, Fox's chief national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin asked whether the drones appear to be those of hobbyists or something more sinister and concerning.
Again, it would be, premature to draw any conclusions. We've got to see what these are. I mean, it's entirely possible that it could be hobbyists or something else. We just got to look into it. So.
I want to ask you about one other issue, and that is the appearance of drones, a number of them, over bases in the UK, which also house U.S. military forces. Drones that one senior U.S. official said, quote, "The drones do not appear to be those of hobbyists." This follows drones appearing over Langley Air Force Base in Eastern Virginia, the Norfolk Naval Station in Virginia as well. Any idea who or what is behind this?
I've seen this reporting. I couldn't tell you who, but I am confident it is an adversary force. That is, this isn't just to your point, they called it a hobbyist. This isn't someone just checking things out and playing around to see if they can make their little remotely piloted aircraft do its function. I am sure that there are nefarious actors behind this. I couldn't tell you which ones.
We do know that the sighting started last week on November 20th, and they have really ranged in size, in style, and also the amount that we've been seeing over that last week or so.
It's very unlikely that some random person would just be flying these things around significant and serious British and U.S. security facilities, and that there have been no repercussions only increases my view that it is likely a bad actor.
It's something that the department has been looking closely at in terms of how it applies to our facilities, our personnel, whether it's in combat zones or outside of combat zones. But in terms of these particular incidents in the UK versus the ones in the States, again, I don't want to speculate that there's any connection.
One of the members, I don't want to betray secrets, but one of the, and I think this is correct, the members of Congress you just mentioned, I won't say which, pushed hard on the UAP Disclosure Act of 2022, which has never kind of been enacted, and as a result was primaried by his own party, which is the kind of maximum punishment in electoral politics. So there is a massive, we cannot overstate the effort in place to prevent disclosure, and the question really is why. And so these technologies clearly exist. It's not clear to me who possesses them. I'm pretty sure no one's profiting off of them. So, you can construct all kinds of explanations for why. But, everyone I've known, which is every president who's been really read into this stuff, is unwilling to disclose what he learned. And you have to ask, why is that? So I think the truth is, and I haven't gotten to the truth, but I've gotten close enough that I'm like, ooh. I think it's very, very disruptive, way disruptive. It's not just that Lockheed is making a lot of money on anti-gravity technology, or, we've been visited by people from their planet or whatever. I mean, I think there's more there. I mean, there is more there. So, and I'm not, exactly sure. I'm not going to speculate, but I think it's a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than we often allow for it being.
General Ryder, there have been a number of incidents in England with drones targeting U.S. bases, kind of swarming U.S. bases, challenging security. Do you believe they have hostile intent? Do you believe they were sent by a foreign adversary? What is happening what can you tell us about these drones?
What I would tell you, Jennifer, is that they are being actively monitored. Installation leaders have determined so far that none of these incursions impact the base residents, the facilities, or the assets that we have on those bases. We're, of course, continuing to work with host nation authorities and our mission partners to ensure the safety of our personnel, our facilities, and the equipment. The bottom line is it's something that we're going to take seriously. We're continuing to look into it, but as of right now has not had any significant mission impact.
Why not shoot them down?
Well, I won't get into force protection measures. We, of course, always maintain the right to defend ourselves if we deem something to be a threat. But again, we'll continue to work with the local host nation authorities there.
Do you think it's linked to the drones that were sighted at 3 or 4 different locations back in December of last year that we reported on recently?
Yeah, I don't want to speculate and draw unnecessary connections. Again, this is something that we'll look into.
Yeah, and for now, the U.S. Air Force says the investigation, of course, is still ongoing. And right now, all eyes are on the skies. Julie.
Legal opposition. Currently, there are 9 lawsuits against congestion pricing, including a federal suit claiming there was an incomplete environmental review to launching the plan.
Adding further intrigue is speculation about Trump's potential plans for UFO disclosure once he begins his second term in office. Amidst these developments, former President Donald Trump's recent appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, Did You See It?, adds another layer to this narrative. During their conversation, Trump discussed UFOs and extraterrestrial life, making statements about, quote, the people coming from space. So his willingness to engage in such discussions reflects, I guess, changing attitudes towards UFOs at high levels of government. Let's start with the recent Pentagon reports on UAP, which has provided unprecedented insights into these mysterious occurrences. Analysing over 800 cases collected over 17 years, the reports concluded that some UAP exhibit advanced technology that defies current scientific understanding. These findings have significant implications for national security and indeed our understanding of aerial phenomena. The report highlighted that many unexplained objects demonstrated unusual flight characteristics, such as remaining stationary in high winds, manoeuvring abruptly, or moving at considerable speeds without discernible means of propulsion. And this acknowledgement, from a major military institution by the way, marks a significant shift in official attitudes towards UFOs. On November the 13th, two subcommittees of the House Oversight Committee held a joint hearing provocatively titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Exposing the Truth. Sounds like an X-Files episode. During this session, witnesses presented compelling evidence that American skies are being monitored by advanced technologies, possibly from a foreign adversary or even extraterrestrial sources. Luis Elizondo, a former military intelligence official who led a Pentagon program investigating UAP, testified that, quote, UAP are real and that advanced technologies not made by the US government are monitoring sensitive military installations globally. He emphasised that the US is in possession of UAP technologies, as are some adversaries too, suggesting we may be in a multi-decade arms race hidden from oversight bodies. The hearing also addressed the concerning locations of these sightings. A disproportionate number occur over military facilities and nuclear sites, raising alarms about potential threats to national security. Elizondo noted that this trend had persisted for decades and has often been obscured from lawmakers and the public. So, in light of these revelations, the recent drone swarm incident at British air bases takes on a rather new significance. Initially viewed as a potential security breach, this event now raises questions about whether it could be related to the advanced technology described in both the Pentagon's report and congressional testimonies. The drone swarm incident serves as a stark reminder of the evolving nature of the aerial threat and the challenges faced by defence forces worldwide in identifying and countering such phenomena. As technology advances, distinguishing between conventional drones and potentially more exotic technologies becomes increasingly more difficult.
We start this without any preconceived notions, but understanding that we're in a world of discovery. And we, NASA, have taken for the first time concrete action to seriously look into UAP. And this independent study team is exactly that. It's independent. They work to develop recommendations about how NASA could better examine them from a scientific perspective. And the top takeaway from the study is that there is a lot more to learn. The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. But we don't know what these UAP are. That's why I'm announcing that NASA has appointed a NASA Director of UAP Research. They are being tasked with developing and overseeing the implementation of NASA's vision for UAP research. We will use NASA's expertise to work with other agencies to analyze UAP. We will use AI and machine learning to search the skies for anomalies, as we have been searching the heavens and will continue to search the heavens for habitability. And NASA will do this transparently. So while today is a significant step for NASA, it's certainly not.